Okay, very nice. So the next way that I suggested you can open up a speech with power is with a list. So on a list, it's where you might have a thesis. Let's imagine that it's self-driving cars. And underneath those self-driving cars, you might have some things that you think have in common. So just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of trains, buses, planes, horses. I'm trying to think of one more thing. Tesla, how about that? So that's 5 items, which, by the way, the most common mistake that students make when they do an open with impact is they only have 3 things. You don't want that. You want to take your list to at least 5. And so there was a couple reasons why. One is if you get to that 3, it's the minimum standard because you have to set the pattern in your tone with the first 2 and then break the pattern with your third thing. It's called the rule of 3. But if we get to 5, it builds just a little more curiosity. So if you don't mind, I'm going to pause this recording really quick and type up those things that I just listed to you all. So give me a second. How do I pause the recording? Okay, so we're back now. All right, so what I'm going to do is share out my screen really quick. All right, so here's my list. Let's imagine that I start my speech like this. Trains, planes, buses, horses, Teslas. All of these things are things that can guide themselves without your input while you're in them. Today, I want to talk to you about self-driving cars, which, by the way, just really quick, the organization of the introduction, you can see I have the word introduction up here, open with impact to the left margin. And then I have this blank space underneath for my list of things. So that's what I want you to do on your organization is use what we call hanging indents. So make sure that there's white space underneath those main structural elements. Okay, so that was an introduction that used a list. It would not have been a full point open. And the main reason why is if you remember how I delivered it. Trains, planes, buses, horses, Teslas. I'm on the beat each time. And when I'm on the beat and continually delivering at the same pace with about the same amount of syllables, it can get really, really monotonous very quickly and make you want to just go crazy, right? So being on that same beat is a bad thing. So instead, what I should do is mix it up a little bit. So I should say trains, planes, buses, horses, and Teslas. These are all things that do not require your input in order to get from one place to another. Today, I want to talk to you about self-driving vehicles. All right, so what I would want you to do is deliver at least probably 5 items and do so with jazz. Don't be on the beat the entire time. The best way to practice that is to actually manipulate your manuscript. So we would go trains, planes, buses, horses. Teslas. And I'm just making this up, as I'm going along. I don't have to do it like this, but that's the way I'm choosing to do it now. Trains, planes, buses, horses, Teslas. I could have done like this. Trains, planes, buses with the pause, horses, Teslas, right? So the point here is to jazz it up, to give it just a little bit of a mix. So we're going to try this again now. Trains, planes. You know what? I really want to pause right here. Trains, planes, buses, horses, and Teslas, right? So give it jazz on your list. So take your list to at least probably 5 items and put those little rhythmic variations in there and make sure that your items have something in common too and clearly connect to the thesis. All right. So that's the little tip, open with impact list.